14, and I'm here with Misha today because we've been having viola d'amore lessons by Skype. So, Misha, what on earth are all those instruments on the wall in back of you?
Well, okay, these instruments have quite a little history with my work, more or less together with a very close friend, Daniel, whom I worked together as experimental musicians, if you might put it like that, or we were into performing music, creating music for all kinds of exotic instruments. Yeah, it may be exotic from my perspective, but from the perspective of people who made these instruments and actually played these, they're of course not exotic. So yeah, I'm collecting these things because I think they are both in aesthetical terms, but also in terms of reminding me of the music. Maybe the good players are capable of producing music with them. So I just love to sit here in my office, being surrounded by these very charming and great pieces of art and music.
That is very cool. That brings me to the viola d'amore, which is why you got in touch with me. Misha, why the viola d'amore?
Well, first of all, I'm playing the violin quite a while, not professionally, but I started learning the violin maybe when I was 6. My mother actually is a professional violin player, and I switched over to the viola when I was 14 or 13 or something like that. Um, and I always love things which are a little out of mainstream. I switched to the viola, for instance, just to tell that a little story here, because I love this a little more warm sound and a little more aside of all the mainstream musicians. Nothing to say against the violin. It's one of the greatest instruments at all. A couple of years ago, with more or less with the YouTube database, which is quite fantastic. I got to learn a little more about the viola d'amore, and I did a little research and I listened to some very interesting pieces. One of them, I remember, one of the very first pieces I discovered on YouTube was played by Garth Knox, and I was really deeply touched by his playing the Marais Marin, Folia, this crazy thing which is getting more and more excited, and he's really very getting into his flow, and yeah, so a very rich kind of musical explosion. So that was the point when I was really starting to in the backside of my brain to be busy with that thing and to think about maybe trying to get in touch once in the future myself.
Wow, that's incredible. But what about the instrument that you have right there? Maybe we could just say to talk about one last thing. Maybe you could explain this particular instrument. What
Well,
is it?
well, this is, I would put it like a toy viola d'amore. I borrowed that instrument actually from Daniel again, the friend whom I'm making a lot of music together with. He purchased that, I think, either over eBay or Ancient Music Shop or something like that as a kit, which was not finished, and he was finishing it like I don't know, I think he added the fingerboard and did the varnishing and a lot of details. He even carved uh, this part a little more precisely, and he gave it to me like 4 years ago, shortly before he went to New York for 2 or 3 years, because he hadn't had any need of that, because he's not a violin or viola player himself. So I was putting it on my wall, and then just like half a year ago, I did research again on YouTube, and I discovered your recordings, which very deeply touched me. The recordings in this yard outside, You were playing the very short things, and it was like, wow, this guy really is one of the greatest musicians on this instrument I know. And I was so touched, and I was trying to get in touch with you, and I discovered Tafelmusik, and I discovered, wow, he's offering some kind of workshop, 1 week workshop. Greatest thing ever to me. So I applied for the workshop, and yeah, now we know that the workshop cannot take place, so we are here over Skype, communicating.
Wow. Well, I'm glad I asked because we've been working for 4 weeks now, and you just told me a whole bunch of things I didn't know before. That's really great. Look, I look forward to meeting you again next week. In the meantime, if you could, I'll send you another movement from those anonymous partitas. I'll send you the contact information, and I'll see you again a week from now. And look, thank you for this interview because it was really interesting. So I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.